I've had several phone calls in the past several weeks. People wanting to know a little bit about black powder. Black powder shooting, referred to as muzzleloaders. There's a lot of expressed interest out there. You can practice with this type of a weapon, and the cost is very minimal because all you need to get is some plumber's lead to make your bullet with. There's several brands out on the market. You have Thompson Center, Lyman, Tradition, Connecticut Valley, and they run in anywhere in moderate price from $150 to $350. You also have a inline type muzzleloader, which uses a bolt similar to your modern day weapons. The ones I mentioned before are what they call a traditional model. And in the newer version, you have Knight, Thompson Center, and White. They range from $350 to about $550. It's a lot of fun to go out black powder shooting, muzzleloading as we call it. There's several rendezvous around the country. A rendezvous is you get together where everybody dresses up in the buckskins and has their teepee-style tents. They have axe throwing contests, and they have all kinds of shooting events using muzzleloaders only. And it's a lot of fun. You can go to one of these and you can have a lot of experience about camping out and how our forefathers did things. It's very interesting. I've done it several years. Black powder, I do black powder hunting when I go, and it's real sporting that way. The Thompson Center is what I have, and you've asked me questions about what type would be the best. Well, the most traditional is the old round ball, and some of your import type weapons have a twist in the barrel, and this is the rifling in the lands and the grooves with a 1 in 66 twist. This is pretty fast, and it's for mainly round balls, where you put your powder down the barrel, and you take a grease patch, shove it down, and then you take your round ball and push it down the barrel. Then you have the 1 in 48 twist in your more modern Thompson Center, where you can use a regular style conical bullet. Myself, I use the Great Plains bullets by Hornady in 45 and 50 caliber. They are a real good, accurate bullet. At 100 yards, when you're shooting groups to sight your weapon in, they hold a real good pattern. There's a lot of safety involved when you're using a black powder weapon. You have to do a lot of thinking because remember, you only got one shot, and if you mess up, and I've done it myself, not thinking, talking to somebody, I'll put the ball down before I'll put the powder, and then you have a real problem. But there's ways of getting those out. When you go to your favorite hunting store, gun shop, the salesperson should be able to show you all the different items that are out there to take out patches, which they call a patch worm. What it is two little hooks that you screw into the end of your cleaning rod if you get a cleaning patch, a cloth patch stuck down your barrel. Also, there's a screw attachment if you do have a lead stuck down your barrel. You just screw this in at the end, and then take your cleaning rod, put it down in the end, and twist it, and it'll go into the soft lead, and you'll be able to retrieve the barrel. So retrieve the lead out of the barrel. And it's real unique. There's also different shot caps out there that you put over your nipple, and this is what gives you the ignition. The best ones out there are the CCI hot caps, or number 11s. I've tried other brands, and they seem to be a little bit hotter. In other words, give a little bit better spark to ignite your black powder or Pyrodex that you're using to shoot with. One thing when you're shooting black powder, you have to remember your measurement of what you're using, and there's different measures for that, and you can buy these, and these are brass measurers, and they're dram equivalents, and it's real easy to start to learn to reload. Lyman and Thompson Center put out books on this, and it can be a lot of fun. You have to be real careful when you're shooting black powder. As to if you're out hunting and you're through for the day and you still have a loaded weapon, you don't want to bring it into your home. You want to fire your weapon off in a safe direction down to the ground. And if you're out hunting, you don't want to put your weapon away in the colder temperatures because it will absorb moisture and get your powder wet. And when you go out in the morning to go hunting, when you go to fire it off, you're just going to get a thud and you're not going to do anything because your weapon has already absorbed moisture. So what you want to do is fire it off when you come back into camp and clean your weapon out and get it ready for the next day. And then in the morning, fire off a couple of caps without anything in the barrel to clear your nipple, as it's called, and your barrel channel, and make sure that there's no spark. Then load your weapon. And you can have a lot of fun learning how to do this. And like I say, there's several rendezvous all over the different parts of the country, back east and Midwest, in the Northwest Territories and all. Here in Arizona, there's 2 or 3 a year, and you get to know a lot of people and learn things. And some of the people I've seen also make their own hunting knives, tomahawks, and their own weapons. So you can really have a lot of fun. We're going to have a little call-in on this tonight. It'll be after the break. And what you want to learn also is that each rifle is different in black powder shooting. What they give you is general loading information, and you don't want to exceed what they show you in the listed in the book for the grains of black powder or Pyrex being used. For the simple reason, if you get an overcharge after your weapon is fired, your hammer will come back on you. In other words, almost try to recock itself. And when that happens, you know you got too much pressure build up, so drop the load that you're using. The difference between Pyrex, as I've been talking about, and black powder is kind of unstable because of how it's made up. Hodgson's company, what they've done, they've come up with an imitation black powder called Pyrex. And they have it in a yellow can, and it's RS, and that's for rifle shotgun. The green label can is marked P for pistol. And it's real good. It burns a little bit cleaner than black powder. You'll get more firings in between cleanings of your weapon, and it's just a little bit safer to have around than black powder. Most stores that sell muzzle-loading weapons have to keep their black powder in a outside powder magazine away from an area, a business area. It has to be in an outlying area according to the different fire codes because it is high hazardous. UPS won't even deliver it, but they will deliver Pyrex because it is safer. Cleaning your weapon and keeping it clean is very important, and it's not really that hard to clean it. Basically, what you can use is just plain old soap and water. Make sure it's soap, not detergents or any deodorant soap. You want to use actual soap. I find that Ivory soap is one of the best ones to clean it with, and it does a real good job. They also have Thompson Center has a seasoning butter out there called 1001. You clean your weapon with real hot water, get it real clean, get the barrel hot with your hot water, and it kind of opens up the pores a little bit of the metal, and you scrub it down with this seasoning butter, and what it does is get in the pores of the metal, and it doesn't allow black powder to build up a residue, and it makes for smoother and more accurate shooting. Most of your nipples that are on weapons today are of stainless steel, and it'll tell you whether you use black powder or Pyrodex on the weapon. If you want to use Pyrodex and your weapon says black powder only on the side of the barrel, what you have to do is change nipples. The nipple on a black powder weapon has a real small orifice, so when the nipple is fired, it lets out your spark into your black powder. But on the Pyrodex, because it's a little harder burning and a little bit heavier to ignite, you have to use a nipple that has a bigger orifice to let more spark go through the weapon to ignite the powder. When you're out hunting, and if you do have your weapon loaded, what you want to do is put it in a half-cock position. You can leave a cap on it. What I do is put a piece of leather or a cleaning patch between the hammer and the cap itself, and it rests on it. And that way, all you have to do if you out hunting or just target shooting is just pull your hammer back, the piece of leather or the patch will fall off your weapon, and it's clear firing. One of the safest things, though, really is to carry your weapon without a cap on it, and I carry a bunch of loose ones in my pocket until I'm in position and ready to shoot, and then I'll go ahead and load it. And if I have to decock my weapon because I didn't shoot or fire the weapon, that's when I'll put the leather or the cleaning patch in between, and then it is safe. And also, if you have a hang fire and you fire your weapon and nothing happens, it just goes click, hold your weapon downrange or point it in a safe area, because it's possible that a spark could ignite that fire, so you want to wait about a good couple of minutes for what they call the term cook-off. Then put another cap on it and try and fire it again. So these are some of the tips that people wanted to know about black powder shooting. And when we have the call-in, I'll answer any questions that I might be able to give you on black powder shooting. And let's see here. Some states allow scopes on weapons, some don't. Arizona, you can't, or New Mexico, you can't use a scope on your black powder weapon over there. It's strictly a traditional type of a hunt. Usually they're held in the late September of most states where they do have muzzle loading. Here we have a deer and elk season. And you just want to know your gun, your rifle rather. Some people get out there. There was an incident this last season. A friend of mine was out with his muzzleloader during the cow season, and there was another gentleman out there, and he was running after one, and he fell and broke his cleaning rod. Well, that put him out of the hunt because he had to drive all the way back to town and purchase another one. And so what you want to do is make sure it's in the lock position underneath, and if you have any doubts and your trunnions underneath are loose, you want to put a piece of tape or a rubber band, but I would suggest that before you go hunting, you check your weapon out and make sure it's in tip-top condition. Myself, I carry a backup. I carry 245s when I'm deer hunting. I have one back at camp in case I have a default with the one I'm carrying. Out elk hunting, I'll carry my 54 caliber Thompson Center Hawken, and they're just a good feeling weapon. You can have a lot of fun, and like I say, you can buy the bullet mold, go down to any hardware store, buy some pure plumber's lead, cast your own bullets, and you got to be safe when you're casting lead, that you don't get no water around that hot lead, so it'll pop back on you and burn you. You have to be real careful, wear gloves, and use a ventilated area when you're casting your bullets. And each group of bullets that you make, go out and test them. The weights will vary with the type of plumber's lead that you get. So if you buy several bars of plumber lead, they usually come in 5-pound ingots. You want to use the same type of bullet and the same type of load. And if you try another brand of lead or mixed lead from someone else, what you want to do is put those aside and see how they group at 50 and 100 yards, because the bullets will vary and you will get some flyers. A flyer meaning that you'll be shooting a 3-shot group and you'll have 2 pretty close in there, and then you'll have 1 out in left field. That's called a flyer. There could be an air pocket, could be some impurities in the lead that will throw that ball off center. And just remember that ball's coming out of there in a spiral fashion. And when you're using a round ball, when you're doing your mold, as you kick the top of your mold over, it's called a sprue cutter. Well, you'll find a little end on the lead, and what has happened there, that's what they call the sprue. And when you're loading a round ball, you want to make sure that is up. In other words, facing you as you're pushing your ball down the barrel. It does have something to do with which way your ball is going to be coming out. So that's about what I can tell you on black powder shooting. And it is a lot of fun. You can get into it, and the whole family can enjoy it. Myself, you can get lighter calibers all the way down to a 36 or a 32, and that's just like shooting a little .22 rifle. And for little people out there that want to learn how to shoot, and you can have a real enjoyable afternoon in the black powder. Okay, folks, anybody who wants to call in tonight, reference our subject matter on black powder muzzleloading, call in at 602-337-2524. Good evening, you're on the air. Now, I had a hang up there. 602-337-2524, and we'll see if we can help you in any questions you have pertaining to tonight's subject. And we just had several people call me at the store, and so I thought we'd do it tonight. Good evening, you're on the air.
Yes, excuse me, I got a bad cold here. I want to know about black powder loading, right? Either pistols or rifles. Are they regulated the same way state by state usually as our rifles, where you would use manufactured bullets in?
No, they're not, sir.
Okay, so in other words, I wouldn't need a permit, or do I need one?
I would check your local and state laws. Here in Arizona, there's no laws against owning a black powder rifle, and you don't have to do any paperwork for it.
Okay, because it seems like it would be a lot of fun to try to use one of those, even for just nostalgic purposes.
Oh yes, it's a lot of fun. You get into it, sir, and you'll have a lot of fun.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
You're quite welcome. Remember, folks, the phone number is 602-337-2524, and also we'll be listening, and Gene Miller will be here tomorrow night and Friday night to help us with any of the questions you might have, and to give us information as to the gold and silver market, precious metals, and the stock market, and it'll be very informative, so I wouldn't miss the program tonight, or Thursday and Friday, folks. Good evening, you're on the air.
Yes, I'm a dealer, and I specialize in muzzleloading firearms, and I'd like to clarify some information you gave out.
What's that?
Well, you kind of forgot to mention that the ball or the patch should be on the ball, and if you're experiencing that kind of problem with a nipple coming back at firing, or the hammer coming back, the orifice in the nipple is too large.
Well, also an overload will do that too.
An overload will do that. In most cases, though, the powder simply blows out the end of the barrel. It's not consumed.
Well, that's true, but a lot of people, when they're reloading and not going according to the measured instructions, they want to put a little bit more powder in there to try and get a little bit hotter load. They'll experience this, and this will also give them a signal that they're over pressure.
Correct. But in most cases, what happens is the powder is simply blown out the end of the barrel, and there's a point of no return with any black powder firearm. In most cases, the excess amount of powder isn't being consumed, and you get no more speed out of the ball.
That's true. You have you just can burn so much with the flash of the cap.
That's correct.
That's right.
Concerning the Pyrex versus black powder, Pyrex burns or has a higher ignition temperature than black powder. Black powder is not necessarily unstable if handled properly. And that's another confusion that should be, and it also does not work very well in flintlock firearms.
Well, this is true, but if you go in different states, different fire laws on black powder, they consider it as an unstable hazardous material.
Well, federal law classifies it as a Class C explosive, black powder, while Pyrex is classified as a propellant.
Okay.
That's the difference. That's the reason why it can be shipped. The last thing I wanted to clarify was in most states, with the exception of the state of New Jersey, a black powder firearm does not come under federal law, and there's no paperwork required. However, New Jersey requires that cap and ball revolvers be classified as firearms, and paperwork is required, including their handgun purchase permit.
Well, that's good to know. That's why I suggested they check their own local state and local laws.
Okay.
Thank you very kindly.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
The folks, tonight the phone number is 602-337-2524. If we can answer any questions on any material pertaining to hiking and black powder, we'll be glad to help you. Good evening. You're on the air.
Yeah, when you're casting your lead for your muzzleloaders, should emphasize it should be soft lead.
That's why I said plumber's lead.
Right. Wheel weights are very common, and people may want to use those. But you test that by pushing your thumbnail into it. If you can dent it, that's good enough.
That's true because there is hardeners in the wheel weight, and they don't function as well.
Wheel weights work very good for high velocity pistol loads, but not for muzzleloaders.
That's true. Thank you.
Other points for safety, you have to point out that static electricity is rather detrimental to black powder. You want to shake your powder cans or powder flasks too vigorously.
Yeah.
And safety point brought home to me on double barrel shotguns in hunting situations. It's very easy to shoot one tube there, and when the heat of the excitement getting ready for another cubby raising up, get to uncock that last barrel. It's sitting there cocked, and you get ready to reload the first one.
Yes, and double barrels can be hazardous that way. You have to pay attention.
There's something you don't think about till you're looking down the barrel and realize you still have a cocked hammer down there.
That's why I say you've got to practice safety and know what you're doing at all times in any of the sporting events that you want to do, whether it's boating, shooting, camping, or whatever. Good evening. You're on the air.
Hi, I'm Dan. I'm calling from Berkshire County, Massachusetts. I was really interested in your program earlier when you were talking about the Black Powder Historical Society, and I was wondering, do you have any addresses, such as in the Northeast, that you might be able to give out?
No, I don't. You can go to your local sporting goods store that handle black powder, and they do have a lot of that information available through the various books. There's places in the back end of the books that have that type of information.
Okay. Yeah, well, also one thing I wanted to mention, somebody was asking about legalities, and I just wanted to mention for anybody who's listening in the Northeast, as far as I know with firearms laws in New York, Massachusetts, and most of the New England states, all black powder weapons are severely regulated, like any other firearm.
They are?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
The handguns, I know in New York, if you have a black powder pistol, it has to be registered with a pistol permit.
Okay.
So I figured anybody who's listening would like to know that information.
Well, that's good. Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
And again, folks, anyone wanting information on your black powder, I check your local authorities and your state to find out exactly what it is. Out here in the West, they're a lot more lenient than they are back east. So just check back there, or go to your local dealer back there. And I'm sure he can give you that information on what you'd have to go through. Also, just be careful and practice safety every time that you go out, and make sure that the barrel is clear. Well, another way you can check that is when you have your cleaning rod, when you know your weapon is empty, when you first get it, send your cleaning rod down the barrel and take a knife and cut a ring around your ramrod. And that way when you go to check your weapon, if your ramrod is sticking up above that line, you know that there's something, a load in there or something is filed in that weapon. You'll have to get it cleaned out. That's one way of checking it. So but you can have a lot of fun with black powder. They're handy. That's all I can say for them. I'm enjoying them. I've been shooting black powder for a little over 30 years myself, and I've shot some of the old Kentucky long barrels and squirrel guns that they used, Pennsylvania long rifle, and one time back in Illinois, we were in around St. Louis, and I was able to shoot a couple of original Hawkins down there, and that was a real thrill for me. Good evening, you're on the air.
Yeah, I've got some information for the people out there. Let me turn my radio off. If they are really concerned or interested in black powder, they can contact the NMLRA, National Muzzleloading Rifle Association in Friendship, Indiana, and I'll give them the address here in just a split second. I dredge out my book. Well, they're in Friendship, Indiana anyway. You have a state representative there in Arizona. His name is Nathan Vic Barkin, and he's out of Flagstaff, Arizona.
Yes.
Are you familiar with him?
No, I'm not.
Okay. But we are having a winter national shoot at Ben Avery Shooting Range, just north of Phoenix there. And that's on February 22nd through the 26th. And they can contact the NMLRA out there.
Okay, wasn't that the old Black Canyon Shooting Range?
Oh boy, I'm not sure. I'm here in New Mexico.
Okay, do you have a phone number where they can contact someone over there at the Avery Shooting Range?
Well, I'm looking through my muzzle blast here. Here we go. Nathan Barkin, I believe he prefers to be called Vic, is at 602-527-1438. And he can give you all the info on that guy.
Yes, if anybody's in the Arizona above Phoenix area that wants to go to that, I heard about that last year, but I wasn't able to go. And they had quite a lot of demonstrations over there, plus people that didn't know about black powder were able to shoot and get interested in it and learn a little bit about it.
Right. Yeah, there's several of us from New Mexico come. We all go to the primitive camp over there, and we do the camping in teepees and lean-tos and whatnot. And anybody that's interested in that lifestyle, come on down to primitive camp, and we'll show you around.
Okay, thank you very much. And folks, for information on the black powder shoot north of Phoenix at the Avery Shooting Range, call 602-527-1438, and you can get started if you have interest in that, which I'm sure a lot of people after tonight's show will be interested in it. So, but there's a lot of fun out there, folks. Seek and you should find it. So, in pistols, I shoot pistols once in a while. I do enjoy shooting rifles more than I do pistols on black powder. I have a couple of the old single shot. I even had one time in one of my classes, I was able to hold a 69 caliber pistol that was carried during the Civil War that a friend of mine's great-great-grandfather had, and he carried it at Gettysburg. and he was one of the flag bearers, and so they carried pistols, and it was a real unique pistol, and it was really a nostalgic thing when I was showing it in the class, and it was just a real nice piece of history, and it still shoots too. So anyway, you can have a lot of fun, folks. And if you have any questions, you can call the Research Center here during the day at 602-337-2562, and Pete can give you any information that you're looking for. If you need anything from surplus and stuff, you can call me at 602-337-2975. If you want a catalog, you can send me $2 and send it to Surplus and Stuff, P.O. Box 3300, St. John's, Arizona 85936. Don't forget the tape that Bill has available from Anthony Hilder on Millennium 2000, $30 postpaid, Lucifer 2000, and Crisis Creation. Those are $20 each postpaid. And information, folks, just on the self-addressed number 10 size stamped envelope, along with $1 to the Intelligence Service, Post Office Box 1420, Shiloh, Arizona 85901, and I'll be glad to send you out any information. Thank you very much, folks. Thank you all, and God save the Republic.